Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a cool video for you. Indoor season is approaching. I've had this video kind of planned for a while. I am going to be taking you guys through my pre-meet routine. So obviously you guys watch my track meet vlogs and you see all the bits and pieces that goes into me being at a track meet, but I thought I'd really break down the process of what I like to do building up to competition. So I'm gonna go through day before, day of, everything that goes into me prepping for meet day. Got some things written out here and just gonna be showing you the different things that I do. I am recovering from a cold right now, so please bear with me, but let's get into it. So my pre-meet will look different depending on the season that I'm in and the race that I'm doing that week. For example, when I'm in outdoor season and I'm hurdling, that pre-meet looks a lot different than when I have an 800 while indoor training. Typically, depending on the meet, we will get to the competition location the day before, sometimes earlier, but at minimum, except for our first meet at Youngstown, that's really just like an icebreaker. Aside from that, we always have at least a day prior where we get to the facility, ease into what the competition setting is going to look like, and make sure we're well rested at the hotel at the place that we are competing at. In general, covering food and hydration, the day before, it's really important to emphasize a good dinner. For me, that could look like a few different things. Sometimes when we are traveling to meets, our hotel caters dinner and breakfast for us. Those are really nice because then I don't have to think too much about it, and that could be things like chicken and vegetables and rice and just all those good things. If our hotel does not offer that, then my go-to really is usually chicken parm, just looking for some good carbo load substances. Hydration is really important, especially when it comes to outdoor season and we are down in Florida and it is hot. I'd be sure to hydrate through the travel day, the pre-meet, and competition day. And for me, hydration is water, and you need to be getting electrolytes in as well. And my go-to for electrolytes is Pedialyte. I love Pedialyte, and we like this. Pedialyte is my go-to. There's also obviously Gatorade, Gatorlyte, lots of good options, but definitely make sure that you're getting some kind of electrolytes in with your water. So our pre-meet practice before our race. This will be the day before we compete. Sometimes this looks like we come straight from the airport or straight off the bus right to the facility getting into it, and that can be a lot on your body, especially if you were just sitting for like 6 hours on the bus and now you're trying to run really fast. So it can be a whole thing. You have to handle it the right way, make sure you're getting a proper warm-up in. But typically these pre-meets aren't like super intense anyways, so it doesn't matter that you're not feeling perfect. Really the main purpose of getting there the day before and getting on the track is to get a feel for the track, especially if you're at a new facility that you haven't been to before. Sure, the 200-meter bank track is regulation, but every track is different. All the banks are different heights, the surface is different, the width of the lanes can be different. Like, they really should have a standard for these things, but they clearly don't because every track that I go to is different. So that is probably the main reason for us doing this pre-meet, is to get a real feel for what this track is, how it feels. And like I said, this could look different for me depending on what season I'm in. This upcoming indoor season, I'm going to be running 800, 600. So my pre-meet practice will typically look like a few 200 repeats at race pace. Good rest in between, just getting around the track, feeling what it looks like to come across the 200 in that target time. Now, if we are in outdoor season and I am doing the 400 hurdles, I'm moving a little faster. And my pre-meet will look like getting to the track, warming up, going through hurdle drills. I will go over usually the first 3 hurdles of the race. That's about 150 meters, and I'll do that a few different times just to get a lay of the land there. And also, if I know my heat and lane prior to pre-meet, it's really helpful as well, because then I will set up my blocks in the lane that I've been assigned, and that really eliminates any aspect of surprise. So I know exactly the lane that I'm in, where my hurdles are at in my lane, and just getting a feel for that. After pre-meet, we head back to our hotel, and it could be usually a little later in the day. We're probably getting ready for dinner at this time. After dinner, I will prioritize recovery. Regardless of how my body feels, even if I'm like, I feel great, I'm still gonna do some kind of recovery just because I want to make sure that I'm still feeling great the next morning. Now, if you've been following me for a minute, you know that I basically travel with my own recovery gear because I don't like wasting time and waiting in line, going to the athletic trainer. I just like efficiency. So I bought quite a few different tools to help me recover and be able to do that on my own. This could look like a few different things. I have my recovery boots that just helps with blood flow to the area, elevating my legs, getting circulation down there. There's stim, which is basically just activating, massaging the muscles, contracting, relaxing, just to loosen up any tight muscles or sore muscles. And then I also have a massage gun that basically is doing that similar thing. And sometimes, depending on the meet that I'm at or how many events I am doing at a meet, I will also do an ice bath. And this obviously depends if the hotel has a bath versus just a shower, but especially if I'm at a meet and I have, you know, the 800 one day and then the next day I have a 4x4, I'm gonna try and get an ice bath in after that 800 because I need to be feeling fresh tomorrow. Lots of different options. I try to always make sure that I'm doing recovery constantly while I'm away at a meet. And obviously if you don't have these tools or don't have access to these, just stretching, foam rolling, anything, just making sure that you're taking care of your body. The night before meet day, before I go to bed, is probably one of my favorite and most important parts of my pre-meet routine. And that has to do with journaling, meditation, mindfulness, affirmations. We always emphasize the importance of the mental and track, and it is so important. So for me, that is a really crucial part of my routine. The night before, as I'm settling in, getting ready for bed, I'll listen to music and I will journal. And I have a couple different journals. Here's my two journals. You've probably seen them in my meet vlogs, possibly. So I have two different ones and I bring both with me. This one is just my standard journal. What I do in this one is, you know, you gotta just hype yourself up. Tell yourself all the preparation that you've done up to this point, speaking things into existence in here, writing out all my thoughts, race plan, race strategy, getting everything down on paper, good energy in the air the night before you race. Now this is the Athlete's Edge daily journal. I don't use it daily, I use it specifically before meet days. But this was recommended to me by Fla, and it is a really cool journal. It breaks up a bunch of different key components of competition. It allows you to write out 3 positive affirmations, 3 things you're grateful for, and a short-term goal that you have for yourself. And then after your competition, you come back to the post-game section and you write out 3 things that you accomplished from the day and what you're looking forward to tomorrow. So I love journaling. Journaling's not for everyone, I guess, but I would recommend it for everyone. I think it could be beneficial to anybody. Like I said, while I'm journaling, I'm constantly listening to music. I'm just chilling in my bed, and then after I do that, I like to do a little bit of mindfulness, maybe some meditation, just to ease my mind and fully relax. My fellow anxious girlies, incorporate a little bit of meditation in there because we need to slow down our minds, slow them down. And yeah, after I've done all that, ideally lights out at like 10:30, 11. Sometimes if we get in really late at a meet and then we gotta get dinner, treatment, all these things, it can go a little later than I would like, but if it is all up to me, I am in bed 10 o'clock, asleep 10:30. Perfect. Now transitioning to the day of competition. So the first thing that we do every morning is a team shakeout, and this is really just a quick 15-minute thing. We wake up, we jog for 5 minutes, we stretch for 5 minutes, and we do dynamic drills for 5 minutes. Make sure that we're just, you know, prepping ourselves for what's to come later in the day. And right after that, we just walk straight into the room where we can get breakfast, hopefully if the hotel is serving it. For me, an ideal breakfast is usually like pancakes with some protein, fruit, yogurt, the whole shebang. After breakfast, really just relaxing until I have to start getting ready to leave. And this can look different. I prefer morning, early afternoon meets because wake up, I do my shakeout, I get breakfast, then I immediately start getting ready to go, and then I'm there. But there are competitions where I don't compete until 7 p.m. and I have to do nothing essentially all day to make sure that I am relaxed and refreshed come competition. So that can be hard depending on when I'm actually competing because I don't like the whole waiting thing. But when I relax, I mean, sometimes that involves me doing homework, sometimes that's just me watching TV, literally just trying to lay in bed, and then also if I am competing later in the day, making sure that I'm going out, getting lunch, eating snacks, all these things, staying fueled and rested all the way up until competition. Now the fun part, getting ready for competition. I live by look good, feel good, run good. That's just how meets are for me. Not everybody wants to do a full face of makeup and hair down looking pretty and go to the track. It's not always on the cards, especially if you're like at a meet down in Florida and it's really hot and you're about to sweat everything off. That can't always happen. But I really like to take that time leading up to before I have to leave to play some fun music that gets me hype and do my full meet routine. I go back and forth between if I start doing my makeup or my hair first. Just depends on how I'm feeling that day. For me, makeup usually looks like concealer, lips, mascara, and some royal blue eyeliner, and anything else if I'm feeling a little fun that day. And then my hair, I like to switch up all the time. I posted a video of just some different hairstyles that I did last season. But I like to experiment, I like to do fun things, but I like to feel secure in my hair. I don't like feeling any bouncing going on, anything like that, so everything is usually tight. So I have different hairstyles, you guys can check that out. Then we put on the uniform, the warm-up, everything, and we're ready. Before I leave my hotel room and get on the bus to head to the competition site, I like to look over my journal entries really quickly, just read everything through, practice that mindfulness again, know what my goals are, know the strategy of my race, and hype myself up. So I like to review that, and then headphones are on, bag on, out the door, and it's game time. Typically, I will get to the track about 2 to 2.5 hours before my event. I like being able to get to the facility and chill for like an hour or so. I don't like getting there and having 10 minutes until I have to start warming up. It just feels too rushed to me. So I like having that time to relax, chill out, watch whoever else is competing, and then lock in for my warm-up. The first thing that I'll do once I get to the facility is go check in for my event and get my spikes checked. I typically will start my warm-up about an hour to an hour and a half before I compete, and this depends on what season it is once again. If I am doing hurdles and I've got to do a bunch of hurdle drills on top of my warm-up, that will be more of an hour and a half warm-up. If you want to see my full meet day warm-up, maybe I could do that separately, but I'll start with the jog. That could be like 5, maybe 10 minutes. Then I will do static stretching, dynamic stretching, some activations, dynamic drills, accelerations, and hurdle drills. I am listening to music all day, all throughout my warm-up, and some places will be like, no headphones in the warm-up area. And I guess that's because it can be a hazard, but I'm very aware of my surroundings and I'm not about to just go run into someone. So if it's like, oh, no headphones, I'm still gonna have at least one AirPod in because I can't warm up in silence. Oh, also, I will bring all of my shoes to a meet. I want to make a separate video talking about just all the different shoes that I have and the different purposes that I have for them. But I will bring my trainers, my flats, and my spikes, and I will use all 3 during my warm-up. Snacking at the track, very important, especially if you're there all day and you're waiting around for that 4x4. You're gonna need to be snacking because meet days are so long. My go-to snacks that I like having on hand at the track are fruit snacks, live by them, any kind of bar, bananas, cantaloupe, anything that's just a quick source of carbohydrates. And lastly, we have our final check-in before we go and race. Try and keep my sweats on for as long as possible. I do run really hot. I can't really explain it. I get so hot so fast, so I'll usually try to at least keep my sweats on. Sometimes we've got layers on layers on layers for warm-up and I've got to strip down a little bit. I'll get in some more accelerations once they let me onto the track. Just a little sprint out from my lane, getting a feel for the track that is already familiar to me. And then I just gotta lock in and race. And that's my full meet routine. This is all things that you've kind of seen bits and pieces of in my track meet vlogs, but I wanted to break down the full process for you guys so that you know, like, it's not by chance or just at random that these things happen. I'm a very type A plan-oriented person, so I like to have things be consistent leading up to each meet day and just having a solid routine in place. So that's that. If you guys want to see like a specific just like get ready with me for a track meet video, let me know. We've got our first track meet coming up the beginning of December, so maybe that would be a good meet to do it. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown. Stay tuned for some track meet vlogs to come because we are almost in that season. Thank you so much for supporting. Also, be sure to check out the Athlete to Athlete podcast if you haven't already, because I've had some cool guests on there, had some cool conversations about some hard and fun topics, so make sure you tune in if you are an athlete. And a spoiler alert, everyone's an athlete to some extent, so you should be watching. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!